Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Have you ever been in a situation where you really screwed something up and you need to just disappear? Let's say you accidentally sold some tainted death sticks to the local planetary governor's spoiled son. Well, your best bet is to get into your ship, punch in some coordinates into your nav computer, and enter hyperspace. But should you be unlucky enough to be that 0.00001% of people who exit hyperspace to find an Imperial Star Destroyer waiting for you, you might be curious about how they were able to track you. And after all, who knows how long you'll be stuck in that carbonite. One of the easiest ways to track someone through hyperspace is to put a homing beacon or tracker on their ship. That's why Han Solo and company were able to escape off the Death Star so easily. Tarkin let them go on purpose. Vader had placed a tracker on their ship, one that would eventually lead the Imperials to the largest rebel base located on Yavin 4. The Empire also had special ships like the TIE Advanced V-1 that could fire the XX-23S Thread tracker from Cinar Fleet Systems. It's what the Sith Inquisitor used to shoot the Ghost, but luckily hit their shuttle, the Phantom, instead. Obi-Wan Kenobi also had a hand-thrown version of a tracker which he used on the Slave One, which actually also had its own ability to launch trackers out of its projectile launchers. Homing beacons had very powerful long-range transmitters which could send back data to the person who planted it, who would then use that data to triangulate the location of the beacon. Now, these beacons usually only worked at pretty short range, but there were actually many other ways of tracking people by not using a beacon. When Tarkin's personal ship, the Carrion Spike, was stolen by rebels, they had unknowingly also stolen Darth Vader's meditation spear. Because the Sith Lord had spent so much time in the spear, he had developed a Force bond with it. Through the Force, Darth Vader was able to track exactly where the Carrion Spike went. Legends say during the time of the Old Republic, before civilizations used probe droids to find new hyperspace routes, Jedi explorers were oftentimes used instead, because of their ability to perceive things at a long distance. So the Force can definitely be useful when trying to track something, even if it's light years away. While trying to track the Carrion Spike, Tarkin also devised another method which involved looking at the last known trajectory of a ship before it enters hyperspace and then matching that data up with a star map and looking at which systems cross paths. In Empire Strikes Back, Vader and Boba Fett attempt to use this very method to track down Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. And because the Falcon was using its backup hyperdrive, the Empire even managed to beat them to Bespin and set up a trap. But it's quite easy to avoid being tracked through hyperspace by this method. All one needs to do is have a fast enough hyperdrive and make several different jumps to misdirect their pursuers. Now, if a hyperdrive is damaged, it could also lead to other problems. After the Battle of Rogue One, the CR-90 Corvette Tantive V-4 barely managed to escape the profundity before it was boarded and taken over by Darth Vader. The reason why the Tantive V-4 hadn't taken part of the battle over Scarif was because it was barely space-worthy. Its electrical systems were damaged, leaving the shield's weapons and hyperdrive functioning at less than optimal levels. When the Tantive V-4 jumped into hyperspace, its malfunctioning hyperdrive leaked out a trail of radiation, which allowed Vader's Devastator to easily track them to the planet of Tatooine. This same technique was later on used by the Empire to track the Thunderstrike, another CR-90 used by the Rebels to carry Twilight Company. So as you can see, there weren't many solid and guaranteed ways to track a ship into hyperspace, which is why the Rebels constantly used it to keep themselves alive. Spoiler alert for The Last Jedi coming up now. This is why when the First Order developed a way to track ships through hyperspace without any trackers or damaged hyperdrives, it was a major breakthrough that had devastating consequences for the Resistance. No longer would they be able to just run off to a new system in order to escape a larger threat. The First Order could now follow them until they managed to destroy all their ships. The hyperspace tracker on the First Order ship was supposedly a product of the Tarkin Initiative, the secret program within the Advanced Weapons Research arm of the Galactic Empire's intelligence agency. This is the same program responsible for both the Death Star 1 and Death Star 2. The hyperspace tracker was one of the projects Tarkin had started, probably spurred on by the theft of his personal ship as we talked about earlier. The project is even mentioned in Rogue One when Jyn is looking for her own Stardust project in the archives on Scarif. Like a lot of things in Star Wars, the science behind this hyperspace tracker is more or less non-existent. It uses a supercomputer which analyzes a huge amount of data from centuries of combat reports, shipping lanes data, travel habits, and many other factors which could help determine the trajectory of a ship. The computer creates trillions of potential destinations and then is able to quickly deduce which one is correct. So basically, it's a probability machine that guesses where a ship goes. This technology stops the main advantage that the Resistance has, its tiny size. It will force them to adopt new strategies to overcome their numerically superior foes. I wonder what they'll do next. Find some kind of way to block Jedi from using the Force? Oh yeah, I forgot about those. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, and like us on Facebook. Special thanks to all you Patreon supporters out there. Remember, if you take care of your hyperdrive, it will take care of you. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.